Hi, I'm Jason Roberts, and I am pleased to present to you my latest book, which is, at least in English, the title is All That Lives and Breathes. This book is a unusually formatted book in that it is essentially a dual biography of two people who were both born in the exact same year, 1707. Both of those people dedicated their life to one of the most daunting tasks in human history, which was to write books that organized and described and classified every living thing on Earth. Those two people have a legacy that is becoming even more important today. One of them is very well known. His name is von Linné or Linné or Linnaeus. He is credited with coming up with the classification system that very tidily organizes all life. The counterpart, however, is someone who deserves to be understood in greater detail, most importantly in France. And I know that he is familiar to some people, but the full context of his work and the depth of his genius is something that remains to be rediscovered, I hope, by the French people. And he is Georges-Louis Leclerc de Buffon, otherwise known as the Count de Buffon. And he was famous for being the intendant of the Jardin des Plantes here in Paris. And he also wrote a very long and a distinctive work called Histoire naturelle, which was more than 30 volumes. It attempted to uh, not only describe animals, but place them in their correct context. He has been called actually the first ecologist. And that sounds like a compliment, but that also indicates how far ahead of his time he was, because the term ecology wasn't coined until around, I think, 1960 or so. Even though I am not French, I have been especially excited for the French edition of this book to come out because I believe that Buffon is an important part of French patrimony. And although he is remembered in French culture, I think people don't fully understand exactly how innovative he was. Buffon was the first person to introduce the concept of deep geological time, the notion that the Earth was maybe slightly older than the few thousand years as dictated in the Bible. Buffon was the first person to indicate not only that there was the concept of evolution, or something we would later name evolution, but the idea that all life could actually have been descended from one single life form. Another controversial concept that Buffon pioneered was the concept of extinction, the idea that life could actually go out of existence. These things didn't exist in the straight biblical notion of the static universe. But Buffon went further. He also was the first person to suggest that humanity was permanently altering the climate of the planet, and perhaps not for the best. He was also the first person to say that there must have been some kind of process into which there is a coding in which life forms know how to reproduce itself. And in describing those principles, he was basically describing a prototype of what we now call DNA. And so, in many ways, Buffon was a man centuries ahead of his time. And it would give me great pleasure that French readers would join me in the excitement of discovery of what a vibrant, vital, brilliant, and far-seeing human being and scientist Buffon was.